You're watching AOTA Inspire Talks. My name is Eliza Ross, and I'm your host. Today, I'm here with Brenda Howard. Good morning, Brenda.
Good morning. It's a pleasure to be with you today.
It's lovely to be with you. How's it going?
Not bad. It's a little snowy here in Indiana today, so we're just enjoying a little winter weather.
Nice. It's a little cloudy here in Baltimore, and I know that we're both speaking with each other from our homes. I am so excited to see you live and in person in Kansas City for AOTA Inspire 2023. Yay!
Yes.
April 20th to 23rd. And I'm curious what you're most looking forward to at this year's annual conference and expo.
Well, I'll start with the broad view. I'm always excited to be at conference and see colleagues that I only see once a year, to make new connections. It's just a great time to get excited about the profession. Nothing energizes you about occupational therapy like the conference does. So being at Inspire is just a great time for that. I also, as chair of the Ethics Commission, am very privileged to be part of the Representative Assembly. So I get to hear firsthand all the cutting edge things that are going on in occupational therapy, and anybody who attends conference gets to hear that as well, from the presidential address to the keynote to just the different activities that are going on. It's great to see and hear what's going on in AOTA. And I'm kind of excited because I get to present at a few different presentations this year as well.
What are those presentations called? So we can put them on.
Well, the first one is rather catchy. They're all on Saturday this year. All the things I'm presenting in are on Saturday. And the first is about, it's called Personal Space in Professional Spaces. And it's all about sexual boundaries. So some of the things we've seen in occupational therapy as we've moved more toward a client-centered approach, we've seen some of those boundaries come down, and especially lately, we've seen sort of a rise in breaking those sexual boundaries. So we just want to spend some time talking about what that is and what that means, and how do we avoid going down that path that can be very destructive in occupational therapy. I'm also presenting with two student groups, both on ethics, of course, because that's what I do. The one is about moral distress in the time of COVID. So that's a poster session. And the other one is about ethics education. What's going on in ethics education? We did a survey to see what kinds of education recent graduates within the past 5 years in OT and OTA programs, what they had in terms of ethics education, what they felt was the most valuable, and in general in practice, what they have felt is the most valuable. So I'm looking forward to seeing people's responses to see what kinds of ethics education the attendees had, and what they felt was helpful as well.
Those are really important topics to bring to the fore. Thank you. I can't wait to add them to my schedule too. That's going to be super great. Oh, thank you.
Can't wait to see you there and meet you in person.
It's going to be fantastic. And so one of the questions that I have for you, you're the chair of the Ethics Commission, as you mentioned. What got you started in ethics, and where does your passion come into play when it comes to ethics?
Well, I think that as many of my colleagues on the Ethics Commission have experienced, we've all experienced instances in practice of poor ethics or poorly executed decisions regarding ethics. And I certainly encountered an instance of that when I moved from working for a hospital corporation where everything is monitored very closely and you're given a lot of instruction on how to behave ethically, how to document, how to bill within ethics, how to treat your clients ethically, to a place where I was working for a private practice where things were not monitored well, and where the practice didn't really know what to do with an occupational therapist and hadn't really encountered what are some of our requirements for ethics. And therefore, I found myself in some ethical sticky situations that I felt very alone and didn't know how to respond. So I started seeking out some of those resources that were available to me as an AOTA member. Doing that led me to take an ethics class, which led me to go, boy, I'd really like to be on the Ethics Commission. I think that would be so cool. So I reached out to then Chair Wayne Winnestorfer, who told me how to apply to do that. Long story short, I was appointed as a member at large, did that for 4 years, and they're 3-year terms. So I was into my second term when the current chair, who was no longer Wayne, had to step down, and I was appointed interim and then ran for the position as chair. So this will be my last year as chair. You can only do 1 3-year term as chair. And so that's my story. And it's interesting because you would think that ethics would be boring or sad or dreadful. This is the most fun group of people. I've had the most fun connecting with folks on the Ethics Commission. We have a good time. And we don't laugh at cases, but we do laugh a lot. And we just really enjoy being together and promoting our profession. So,
that is great. That's really wonderful. What would you tell your as a new, think back to when you were a new practitioner, what advice would you give yourself as far as ethics and, you know, what you can expect from your career?
Couple of things. Speak up. If you see something, say something. That we hear that a lot, and it's true in occupational therapy as well. If something's not sitting right, if it's giving you that squeamish feeling, there's probably a reason for that. So, you know, speak up. Tell someone you're not comfortable with whatever's going on. Find your resources. Some of your best resources are the AOTA Code of Ethics, the Occupational Therapy Practice Framework, and your State Practice Act. I recommend to all practitioners that you download PDFs of those and put them on your home screen of your computer, or print them out and put them in a binder where you can access them easily. So you can talk to your boss, your manager, your company, and be like, look, it says right here, I can't do that. Or that, you know, that it's against our code of ethics to behave in that way. And people usually respond to the force of a whole profession behind a statement rather than just, I'm uncomfortable with that. So know your resources, and also find a mentor. Find someone who's been there and done that and can talk through things with you. That may be an OT professional, it may not. It may be someone from a sister profession, if you will, to talk through those things with. Just having those resources, knowing that you're not going it alone, is very important for new practitioners.
Speaking of resources, what do you wish the member community at large knew about ethics?
Well, first of all, the Code of Ethics, it gets updated every 5 years, and usually on the 0s and 5s. So watch for that. Don't be using an old Code of Ethics if you can help it. I would also say be aware of the ethics page on AOTA's website. There are so many good resources there. We have 25 ethics advisories, soon to be about 27. We're in the process of updating all of them this year. Hopefully by the end of this calendar year, you'll see, kind of as a rolling start, new ethics advisories going up that have it's not even that new anymore, but the new branding, trying to get ourselves up to date with that. You'd be amazed at the time and effort and energy it takes for us to update those. And we're just a bunch of volunteers. So bear with us. We are getting those updated, but even in the current form that they're a great resource to help think through cases that might be similar to something you're going through as a practitioner, or for educators and students. They're great resources for case studies. If you're an AOTA member, they're all free. There's, how to use an ethics problem solving guide in some of them as well. So those are things that I really would like to promote to people. And I'll just kind of put a plug in for an ethical problem solving guide. You can find that in a number of textbooks. There's a variety of them, but they're all very similar. And they just help you think through an ethics case. And I tell you, it was a eureka moment for me when I discovered an ethical problem solving template or framework or guide, because you don't have to keep it in the realm of the emotional. You can kind of put it out there in front of you and examine it from a more distant perspective, a more maybe academic kind of perspective. And it lets you think through, okay, what haven't I done? What could I do yet? What are my options here? What would make me feel the worst? What would make me feel the best? And that can help us make decisions in terms of what we're going to do ethically. So just being aware of those kinds of things that are available on the resources. The ethics advisory, I think, are a very great and underutilized resource for folks. Last thing, AOTA Press also has some books. on ethics. So if you're really wanting to get into it, those are some great resources specifically written for occupational therapists.
Awesome. Sounds like there is a wealth of information available if you're having an ethical dilemma in your profession, in your work. And if you're asking yourself, maybe I'm interested in getting involved in the Ethics Commission. And I know that the Ethics Commission is a governance body. What kind of background do you look for of your fellow volunteers who serve on the Ethics Commission?
Yes, well, we do have some standards that we have to follow when we're having people come on board. We look for people who understand a lot of different practice areas. It doesn't mean you have to practice in those areas, but having been around long enough that you understand different practice areas, that doesn't mean a new practitioner can't apply. It just means you have to look for those experiences. You also need to demonstrate some sort of ethical knowledge. So that could be you presented on ethics at a conference, or you presented on ethics to your your work group that you have, or you're on an ethics committee at your work group or for your state. Some sort of experience in adjudicating cases is helpful. So you've had to think through, how are we going to discipline somebody? And again, that could be within your organization, it could be within the state, it could be on any variety of levels. It could be that you have taught a course on ethics. It could be that you have written something about ethics that got into OT practice. That's basically how I got started. I wrote an article for a course I was in that then got published by AOTA Press, and that gave me the credentials for being able to be appointed to the Ethics Commission.
Terrific. Thank you so much. Brenda, again, I can't wait to see you at AOTA Inspire 2023 in Kansas City. Thank you for spending a little bit of time with me today, and I am excited for what we have in store. I'm very excited for the presentations that you'll be leading at AOTA Inspire, and I can't wait to see what else comes out from the Ethics Commission. You do make it sound very exciting, which is great.
Oh, that's awesome.
Thank you.
Well, thank you so much for having me, and I look forward to meeting you as well.
I can't wait. For those of you watching this, AOTA Inspire Talks is a limited series video program as we lead up to the largest occupational therapy event of the calendar year, AOTA Inspire Annual Conference and Expo. This year in Kansas City, Missouri, April 20th to 23rd, 2023. Register and learn more at inspire.aota.org.